It was a cold night in the small town of The streets were quiet, and most people were asleep in their homes. Only one house still had its lights on. Inside that house lived a man named Adam Reed. Adam was not famous. He was not rich. He was a simple man who worked at a small space observatory on the hill outside town. His job was to watch the sky and listen for strange signals from space. Most nights, nothing happened. He just drank coffee and looked at the stars. That night, Adam sat in front of his old computer. The screen showed green lines moving across a black background. These lines showed radio waves from space. Usually, they were just noise. Adam yawned and checked the time. It was almost midnight. Suddenly, the green lines changed. They became sharp and clear, like someone drawing straight lines with a ruler. A loud beep, beep. Sound started to come from the speakers. Adam froze. His heart began to race. He had never seen this pattern before. What is this?" he whispered. He typed quickly on the keyboard, zooming in on the signal. The pattern was repeating, steady and strong. It was not like anything made by stars or planets. It looked intentional. "This is a message," Adam said to himself. He saved the data, then played it again and again. The signal came from one point in the sky. The same point, the same rhythm. It was like someone was knocking on the door of Earth. Adam opened a star map. He checked the coordinates. The signal was coming from far beyond the moon, far beyond Mars. It was moving fast, very fast. The source was getting closer. He swallowed hard. "This is not just a message," he said. "Something is coming." For a moment, Adam thought about calling his boss. But then he remembered, his boss never took him seriously. Last time Adam reported a strange reading, his boss laughed and said, "You just want attention." Adam stared at the signal. It was still there, still strong. He printed the data and grabbed his phone. "I have to tell someone," he said. He called the local police station. The officer on duty listened for a moment, then said, "Sir, this is not our area. Maybe you should sleep." Adam hung up, feeling more alone than before. He stood up and walked to the window. The night sky looked calm and beautiful. Stars twinkled softly, like nothing was wrong. But Adam knew something was wrong. He went back to the computer and ran a distance calculation. The source of the signal was moving toward Earth at incredible speed. It would reach Earth's orbit in a few days. Adam's hands shook as he wrote in his notebook, "Day 1. A strong signal detected. Unknown origin, moving toward Earth. Possible alien ship." He looked at the words for a long time. They felt unreal, like a scene from a movie. But the fear in his chest felt very real. Hours passed. The signal did not stop. Finally, as the first light of dawn touched the sky, Adam made a decision. "If no one believes me," he said, "I will still try to understand this. I will find a way." He started to decode the pattern. Maybe it was a language. Maybe it was a warning. Or maybe a threat. Outside, the town of Grayfield woke up slowly. People made breakfast. Children got ready for school. Cars moved on the roads. No one knew that above their heads, in the dark of space, something huge was coming. Something that watched, something that listened, and somewhere far out there, an alien armada fleet of warships continued its silent journey toward Earth. Adam was just one man, with one small observatory and an old computer. But he had seen the first sign, and soon, the whole world would know. 2 days later, the world changed. By then, Adam had hardly slept. He stayed at the observatory, drinking coffee and watching the signal grow stronger. He tried to send emails to bigger space agencies, to scientists, to anyone who might listen, but no one answered. On the morning of the second day, Adam looked at his screen and felt sick. The signal was no longer just one point. Now there were many points, dozens, hundreds. "This is not one ship," he whispered. "This is a fleet." The Alien Armada was here. That afternoon, something strange happened in the sky. People all around the world reported the same thing. First, the sun seemed to dim. Then the blue sky slowly turned dark red, like it was bleeding. In Grayfield, cars stopped on the road. Children pointed upward. Dogs barked. People came out of their houses and stared, their mouths open. Adam ran outside the observatory and looked up to. He already knew what it was. The alien ships, that they were entering Earth's orbit. They were so large, and there were so many of them, that they cast giant shadows over the planet. Some people thought it was the end of the world. Televisions and radios all over Earth turned to breaking news. Images showed dark shapes above cities, huge sharp-edged ships blocking the sun. They looked like metal mountains floating in the sky. Panic started. In Grayfield, Adam's phone rang again and again. His boss called, shouting, "Adam, did you know about this? Did you see this coming?" Adam answered, his voice flat and tired. "I told you something was coming. You didn't believe me. Just send us everything you have," his boss said. "The government is asking for data. We're forwarding it to them." So now they believed him. Adam ran back to the computer and sent all his files. The signal recordings, the coordinates, the speed calculations. As he sent the last file, he noticed something new. A new signal. The old signal pattern stopped. In its place, a different rhythm appeared. It was slower and deeper, like a heavy heartbeat. Boom. Boom boom. The speakers shook with the sound. Adam's eyes widened. "They are sending a new message," he said. He recorded it, then played it again, watching the lines on the screen. This message was not moving through space now. It was coming from above Earth, from the alien ships already in orbit. They are talking to us, Adam whispered. That night, all communication networks on Earth received the same message. TVs flickered, radios changed channels. Big screens in cities turned black, then showed a strange symbol, a circle with 3 lines going through it, like claws. Then a voice spoke. It was not a human voice. It sounded deep and metallic, but it spoke in every language at once. People heard it in English, Urdu, Chinese, Arabic, Spanish. Each person understood it in their own language. The message was simple. We are the Khazor. Your world now belongs to us. Do not resist. If you fight, you die. In the observatory, Adam listened, fists clenched. They came to conquer, he said, not to talk, not to share, to take. Around the world, some governments prepared to fight. Others tried to open communication. Some people prayed. Others looted stores and ran wild in the streets. But Adam did something different. He replayed the alien voice over and over again. He listened, not to the words, but to the sound behind the words. There was a faint echo, a strange distortion. It reminded him of the first signal he had recorded days ago. It's the same technology, he thought. The same pattern? Maybe there is a weakness in it. Adam opened the files from day 1 and compared them to the new broadcast, line by line, beat by beat. And then, very slowly, a small idea started to form in his mind. I'm just one man, he said, against an armada, against the Khazor. Or he looked at the red sky outside, at the giant dark shapes hanging there like monsters. But maybe I don't need guns, he whispered. Maybe I can use their own signal against them. And for the first time since the sky turned red, Adam felt something other than fear. He felt hope. Adam knew he had no army, no weapons, no spaceship. All he had was a small observatory, a computer, some old equipment and his mind. He went back to the first signal again, the one from day 1, before the ships appeared. At that time, it was just a strange pattern. Now, he saw it differently. This was not just a greeting, he said. It was a test. They were checking our planet, our technology, our communication systems. He zoomed in on the wave pattern. There were tiny changes in the signal, like small cuts in a straight line. Normal people would not see them, but Adam was not normal. He had been watching signals for years. These cuts, they look like code, he said. He printed the pattern and covered a whole wall with papers full of lines and numbers. He drew circles, arrows, and notes. The room became a maze of ideas. Down after hours of work, he understood one thing. The Khazor used a central control signal to keep their armada in sync. It was like a heartbeat that told all the ships what to do. Without that heartbeat, maybe the ships would become confused, or silent, or weak. If I can break that signal, Adam said slowly, I can break their control. It was a crazy idea. One man sitting in a small observatory, trying to hack an alien armada. But it was the only idea he had. He needed 2 things. A way to decode the Khazor control signal, a way to send a new signal back at them for decoding. He had his brain and his computer. For sending, that was a bigger problem. The observatory's radio dish was small. It was made to listen to space, not shout at it. But Adam knew there was a bigger radio dish, about 50 kilometers away, on an old military base. If I can reach that base, he said, I can send a strong enough signal to space. He turned on the TV for the first time that day. The news was full of chaos. Some cities were burning. Some ships had fired beams of light and destroyed military bases. Planes that tried to fly too close to the alien ships had been shot down. The announcer's voice shook as she said, Global leaders are asking people to stay inside. Do not provoke the alien ships. Do not travel unless necessary. Adam laughed bitterly. Well, this is necessary. He packed a small backpack, his laptop, a hard drive with all the signal data, a flashlight, a bottle of water, and some food. He printed the most important pages of his notes and folded them into his jacket. Before leaving, he looked around the observatory. It had been his second home for years. If I don't come back, he said softly, then this was my last night at work. Outside, the sky was still red, but darker now. The giant shapes of the alien ships hung above like sharks in water. They did not move much. They were calm, confident, sure that no one could stop them. Adam started his old car and drove down the hill. The roads were not normal. Some cars were abandoned. In some streets, people were shouting. In others, they were silent. Many shops were closed. Fear was everywhere. On the highway, Adam drove as fast as he could. He tried not to look at the sky too much, but sometimes he could not help it. He saw one of the ships up close, a massive structure, covered in black metal plates and glowing lines. It's like a city in space, he whispered. After 2 hours of driving, he reached the old military base. The gate was open, and there were no soldiers. The base looked empty. Adam parked and stepped out carefully. The wind was cold. Somewhere in the distance, he heard a small explosion. He walked toward the center of the base, where the giant radio dish stood. It was huge, like a metal bowl pointed at the sky. Old cables lay on the ground. The control building nearby had broken windows. He pushed the door open and went inside. Dust covered everything. Old computers, old screens, old chairs. There was a smell of metal and something burned. "Please work," he said as he pressed a power button. At first, nothing happened. Then, slowly, some lights started to blink. A low hum filled the room. "Yes," Adam said. "You still live." He connected his laptop to the old system and started to work. The computers were slow, but they could still control the big dish. Now came the hardest part. He had to rewrite the Kazor signal. He studied the control pattern again. He realized that the signal was not just orders. It also helped keep the ship's shields stable. "If I send a fake heartbeat," he said, "I might be able to confuse their shields. Maybe I can make them shut down for a short time." A short time was enough for Earth's weapons to hit them, enough for people to strike back. His fingers flew over the keyboard. He built a new pattern, similar to the Kazor signal but with small changes that would, he hoped, turn their strength into weakness. "Come on, Adam," he muttered. "You're just one man. But maybe, just maybe, you can punch a hole in the sky." After hours of work, the new signal was ready. He named it Project Echo because it was their own signal. Coming back at them, he looked at the giant dish through the window. It stood like a sleeping giant, waiting. Adam took a deep breath. "If this works," he said, "the Kazor will know someone is fighting them." He smiled a little. "Good." He pressed the button to prepare the dish to transmit. Somewhere above, the Alien Armada floated in silence, unaware that one man on a dying planet was about to challenge them. The big radio dish slowly turned, its metal body creaking as it moved. Adam watched the controls, sweating. He entered the coordinates for the central Kazor signal, the heartbeat of the Armada. He hoped his calculations were right. If he missed, the signal would just disappear into space. "If I'm wrong," he said softly, "nothing happens. If I'm right," he did not finish the sentence. He pressed transmit. At first, nothing changed. The screen showed a line moving, the data going up the cable to the dish and then up into the sky as a beam of invisible energy. Adam watched the timer. "Project Echo sent," he said. "Now we wait." Minutes passed. The sky outside stayed red. The dark shapes of the alien ships seemed calm, still holding their places over the world. Adam felt his hope start to fade. "Maybe it was stupid," he whispered. "Maybe I was wrong. I'm just a man with a laptop. They are an armada with technology beyond us." And then, something happened. The lights in the control room flickered. The radio crackled. The screen showing the Kazor signals began to jump wildly. "What?" Adam leaned closer. The central signal, the steady heartbeat pattern, was no longer smooth. It was shaking, dropping, breaking. His injected pattern had reached it. He had touched the alien network, high above Earth. Some of the giant ships flickered. Their glowing lines turned off, then on again. In some cities, people looked up and gasped as parts of the ships went dark for a second. Adam's heart raced. "It's working," he whispered. "It's actually working." He increased the power. The dish hummed louder. Old wires sizzled. The metal frame shook. The room smelled like hot circuits. On his screen, the Kazor control signal began to split into pieces. The ships were losing sync. Some drifted slightly from their positions. Others changed color. On the news channels all over the world, people saw it. The Alien Armada was no longer calm. Some ships tilted. Some shook. One of the smaller ships in low orbit suddenly went completely dark and fell from the sky like a dead stone, burning in the atmosphere. People cheered. Military leaders noticed too. "This is our chance," someone shouted in a hidden war room far away. "Their shields are unstable." Earth's weapons, which had been useless before, now had a small window in time. Missiles launched from hidden silos. Fighter jets flew near the edge of the alien ship's shadows. Experimental lasers fired from secret bases. Adam did not see any of that. He was too busy in the control room, holding the signal steady. His head hurt. His eyes burned. "Stay with me," he said to the dish. "Just a little longer." Suddenly, a new signal appeared on his screen. It was stronger than anything he had seen before. It was coming from one of the biggest Kazor ships, their command ship. The pattern was different, faster, angry. "They noticed me," Adam said. The new signal tried to push his signal away, like a bigger wave crushing a smaller one. The speakers screamed with static. The lights dimmed. Warning messages flashed. Overload. System failure. Adam's signal started to weaken. "No," he shouted. He typed rapidly, changing the pattern, adapting to the attack. This is not just hacking, he thought. This is a battle of signals, a war of waves. The Kazor tried to block him, but they did not know how humans thought. They did not know Adam's stubbornness. He changed his pattern in ways they did not expect, jumping between frequencies, adding small, random bits. He was fighting an armada with creativity. Outside, more alien ships lost their glow. Some fell, some exploded when Earth's missiles hit them. People in many cities saw bright flashes in the sky and shouted with joy and fear. In the control room, Adam's laptop overheated. The fan screamed. His fingers hurt from typing. Then the building shook. An explosion boomed in the distance. Dust fell from the ceiling. The Kazor had found the source of the attack. On his screen, Adam saw a new kind of signal, a narrow, focused beam, pointed straight down. They're targeting this base, he realized. A moment later, the radio dish outside was hit by a beam of white light from the sky. Adam saw it through the window. The metal structure glowed, then started to melt. Parts of it broke and fell. The room shook again. A pipe burst. Sparks flew. His signal started to drop. Come on, he muttered. He knew he had only seconds left. He pushed the last command. A final burst. The strongest echo he could send, containing the most damaging pattern he had created. Take this, he whispered to the sky. From Earth, from one man. He hit enter. The dish outside let out one last scream of energy. Then the main support cracked, and the whole structure fell to the ground in a shower of fire and metal. The control room went dark. Adam was thrown to the floor. For a while, there was only silence. Then, slowly, he opened his eyes. The emergency lights turned on, weak and red. Smoke filled the air. Equipment was broken. The big screens were shattered. He coughed and sat up. What happened? He asked. He stumbled to a small backup screen that still worked. It showed one thing, a view of the sky from a nearby camera. Adam stared. The sky was no longer red. The alien ships were still there, but many of them were burning. Some had broken in half. Others were falling, leaving long trails of fire, and the largest ship, the command ship that had attacked him, had a huge hole in its side. Its lights flashed wildly, then went out. Adam sat down slowly. I did it, he whispered. We did it. But he knew it was not over. An armada that powerful would not die, some ships were still stable. The Khazor were wounded, but not destroyed. One more step, Adam said. We hurt them. Now we have to finish this. And he knew that Earth would now see that the aliens could be hurt. One man's signal had cracked the armor of an armada. Now, the whole world could strike. News traveled fast out within hours. People everywhere knew that the Alien Armada had been damaged. The sky was full of falling fire, broken ships, and strange debris. The red color faded, and patches of blue sky appeared again. On TV, experts talked over each other. Someone hacked their systems. Their shields are failing. This is our chance. In a hidden command center, military leaders studied maps of the sky. Who sent that signal? One general asked. We don't know yet, sir. The source seems to be an old base near Greyfield, but the main dish is destroyed. The general nodded slowly. Whoever did it, they gave us an opening. We can't waste it. They launched a massive counterattack. Every weapon that could reach space was fired. Missiles, lasers, railguns, even experimental energy beams that had never been used before. The Khazor responded, but their control network was damaged. Their ships did not move in perfect harmony anymore. Some fired at the wrong targets. Some did nothing at all. In the broken control room, Adam tried to stand. His leg hurt and his head was bleeding a little, but he was alive. He found a small radio and turned it on. The sound was noisy, but he could still hear the news. Massive damage to alien ships reported. Several enemy vessels destroyed. Human counterattacks successful in many regions. Adam smiled weakly. Good, he said. Finish them. He knew he could not help with signals anymore. The dish was gone. His laptop was half burned. His role in this was almost over. Almost. He looked at his notes again, the ones he had put in his jacket. There was something else there. An idea he had not tried. Not just to break the Khazor signal. To send a message to them. A message in their own pattern. He sat down slowly and took out a pen. On a piece of paper, he wrote a simple signal sequence he had decoded from the first alien broadcast. It was a small part of their language, just enough to say a few words. He wrote, "We are not yours, we fight, leave or die." He knew it would sound strange in their language, but the meaning would be clear now. He only needed a way to send it. The main dish was gone, but maybe there were smaller backup antennas around the base. They would not be strong enough to reach the whole armada, but maybe they could reach one ship, and one ship, if it was important enough, could send the message to the rest. Adam limped out of the building, coughing from the smoke. The base was in ruins. Pieces of metal burned quietly. The big dish lay broken like a fallen giant. He walked around until he found a smaller antenna on a tower near the back. It was old and rusty, but still standing. Let's try one last time, he said. He climbed the tower slowly, holding the rails tightly. Every step hurt, but he did not stop. At the top, there was a small control box. He opened it and found a simple transmitter unit. It had a weak power source, but it still worked. He connected it to a tiny portable device from his bag, a backup memory stick with some of his signal tools. The laptop was dead, but this small device had enough to send a short message. He entered the alien pattern he had written. He aimed the antenna at the largest damaged ship he could see in the sky, the command ship with the hole in its side. "Come on," he whispered. "Listen to me." He pressed send. The antenna hummed softly, so soft that only someone standing right next to it could hear. A thin, quiet wave went up into the sky. Adam had no idea if it would work, but somewhere above, inside the damaged command ship, a small receiver caught a strange signal from the planet below. The Khazor systems read it, tried to understand it, and then recognized it. It was their own language. But the words were wrong. They spoke of resistance, of refusal, of death for those who stayed. Inside that ship, There was confusion. Some systems shut down. Others started to argue with the control core. The aliens had never received such a message from a lesser world before. On Earth, missiles struck that ship again while it was confused. The hole in its side grew wider. Explosions spread along its surface. At last, one final blast ripped through its center. From the ground, Adam watched as the giant command ship broke into pieces, burning bright like a second sun before fading. The other Kazor ships saw their leader fall, their damaged network, their broken shields, and now the loss of their command ship were too much. Slowly, one by one, the remaining ships began to turn away from Earth. They did not send another threat. They did not say goodbye, they just left. The Alien Armada, once so proud and powerful, now limped away into space, leaving behind wreckage, scars, and a planet that was still alive. Adam leaned against the tower and laughed. A tired, broken laugh. We did it, he said again. Not just me, all of us. The whole world. Days later, when the dust began to settle and the fires were put out, people started to ask, who sent the signal? Who cracked their shields? Who gave us a chance? Eventually, a team found the ruined base near Great. They found the melted dish, the burned control room, and the small antenna tower where a man had made his last stand. They also found Adam, alive but exhausted, sitting on the tower steps. Looking at the now blue sky, a woman in a rescue uniform walked up to him and smiled. Did you do this? She asked gently. Adam thought for a moment. I just sent a signal, he said. The world did the rest. Years later, children would learn about the day the sky turned red, and how one man listened carefully enough to hear the enemy's heartbeat, and brave enough to throw it back at them. They would call him many things. Hero, savior, the man who fought the Armada, but Adam always remembered the truth. He was just one man with a signal, one man versus the Alien Armada, and that had been enough. When the Alien Armada finally left Earth, the world did not become peaceful overnight. The sky was still full of smoke. Broken ships lay scattered across land and sea. Many cities had scars-burned towers, cracked roads, and dark ruins where homes once stood. People were tired, afraid, and confused. They had spent days thinking the world would end, but Adam Reed was still alive, and because he lived, the world had hoped. A world searching for answers. 2 weeks after the battle, every country held meetings. Leaders spoke on screens, soldiers guarded borders, and scientists from many nations worked together for the first time in history. Everyone had the same questions. Who sent the signal that broke the Alien Armada? How did a single message change the war? Could the aliens return? The answers were still unknown to most people, but not for long. One morning, a group of military trucks drove through Great. People came out of their houses, whispering and pointing. Is this because of the aliens? Maybe they found something. Maybe they found someone. Inside one of those trucks sat Adam, wearing a simple jacket and looking tired. A rescue team had brought him to the capital city, where leaders wanted to speak with him. He did not like the attention. Adam never wanted to be famous. He preferred quiet nights, coffee, and watching stars. But now, the world wanted to hear his voice. The man behind the signal in a large conference room filled with generals, scientists, and reporters. Adam sat at a long table. Bright lights shined on him, cameras pointed at him from every direction. A general stepped forward. Mr. Adam Reed, he said loudly, you are the man who saved Earth. People in the room applauded, but Adam looked down at his hands. I didn't do it alone, he said quietly. Earth fought back. The soldiers, the scientists, everyone did their part. I only made an opening. A scientist asked, how did you discover their weakness? Adam explained everything from the first strange signal to the moment he sent Project Echo. He told them about the small dish, the broken base, the burning sky. Some people listened with disbelief. Others were amazed. A reporter asked, how did you stay calm? How did you keep fighting when the world was falling apart? Adam thought for a moment. I wasn't calm, he said. I was scared, more scared than ever before. But sometimes, fear pushes you forward. Sometimes, fear helps you do the impossible. Every person in the room was silent for a long moment. Then one scientist stepped closer. Adam, she said, we have one last question. Will the aliens come back? Adam looked up at the screen showing the sky. There were no alien ships, no, only stars. I don't know, he answered softly. But if they do, we'll be ready. Next time, Earth won't be alone or unprepared. Rebuilding the planet. Months passed. People all over the world worked day and night to rebuild broken towns. Engineers cleared alien wreckage. Scientists studied pieces of Kazor technology, hoping to understand it. Adam helped too, but not by fighting or sending signals. He helped by teaching. He gave simple classes at universities, explaining what he knew about alien patterns, radio waves, and decoding signals. Students from many countries attended his lessons. They listened carefully, wanting to learn how one man had changed a war. This knowledge is not mine alone, Adam told them. It belongs to Earth. All of us must understand what is out there. He became something unexpected, a mentor, a guide for the next generation. But deep inside, Adam still worried. He knew the Kazor were powerful. Losing one battle might not stop them forever. He felt a shadow in his mind, a warning that the universe was much bigger and more dangerous than humans believed. A new signal one evening. Adam was alone in a new observatory building. The old one had been destroyed, but scientists built a larger, stronger one in its place with Adam's name carved on a plaque near the entrance. He sat at a computer, watching the stars like he always did. The sky was peaceful, quiet, calm. Then, suddenly, a beep, a familiar sound. Adam froze. No, not again, he whispered. He checked the screen. The green lines moved smoothly at first, then changed into a pattern he had seen before, but not the same as the Kazor. This pattern was friendly, soft, almost musical. He recorded it quickly, heart beating fast. The pattern repeated 3 times, then stopped. Adam zoomed in. He studied the tiny cuts, the shapes, the rhythm, and then he understood this. Isn't Kazor? He whispered. This is someone else. It was not a threat. It felt like a greeting, gentle, curious, almost polite. A new voice from space, a different species, maybe an ally, maybe a warning, or maybe just another visitor. But one thing was clear. Earth was no longer alone in the universe, and Adam Reed, the man who once fought an armada, now held the first message from a new civilization. He smiled softly, not with fear this time, but with wonder. The universe is saying hello, he whispered. Let's answer it. A hero's tomorrow. The next morning, Adam walked out of the observatory. As the sun rose, the sky was golden, clean, and peaceful. Children were playing again. Families walked in the park. A world once afraid now lived freely. Adam looked at the stars one last time. The war had changed him. It had changed the whole world. People were now united, stronger, and wiser. He knew the future would not be easy. There would be more mysteries, more dangers, more signals from far away. But he also knew something else. Earth was ready because one man had listened, one man had spoken, one man had stood against an armada and won. And now, the universe was calling again. Adam smiled, picked up his notebook, and walked inside. It's time, he said. Time to learn what comes next. The end of the first story, but the beginning of a new world.